and welcome to this video on question 3 on the higher tier AQA GCSE English and English language papers. This question focuses on the thoughts and feelings of a person or character within source 3. The mark scheme for this is out of 8 marks, and in order to get the full marks on this question, which is band 4, 7 to 8 marks, you need to show a perceptive and detailed answer, which is exactly the same as questions 1 and 2. You need to engage in detail with the experiences described in the text. Again, that means that you need to write about 1 to 1.5 sides in your answer booklet. You need to offer perceptive explanations. So in your explanation, in your PQE paragraph, you need to show the examiner that you've looked at the words in the quote and you've thought about what they suggest or infer, and you need to make sure you use appropriate quotations in each one of your PQE paragraphs to back up what you're saying about the thoughts and feelings of the character. So question 3, this is the lowdown. It's always based on source 3, which is a non-fiction extract and tends to be a biography or an autobiography. It often relates to a journey. This might be a physical journey to a foreign place, or it might be an emotional journey. And we've had lots of emotional journeys before where characters have been in particularly stressful or worrying situations, and you've got to pick out their thoughts and feelings during that time. It always asks you about thoughts and feelings, and you will get higher marks because you will be making more perceptive comments for commenting on changing thoughts and feelings. And 9 times out of 10, there will be a change or a difference in the thoughts and feelings of a character within that source. It's not language analysis, so you don't need to pick out any read my rules or De Forest techniques unless they relate directly to a thought or feeling that you are discussing. Remember, it's an 8-mark question, it's 1.5 minutes per mark, so this question you have 12 minutes to answer it in. In everyday life, we use something called non-verbal communication, and this is often subtle, and it includes things like body language, tone of voice and gestures. And we use this non-verbal communication to figure out how a person is feeling or what they're thinking. So if we look at this picture here, we look at these people within the picture, and just from looking at what they are doing, we can tell that perhaps they're showing friendship, they're showing solidarity, they could be comforting one another, they're obviously very caring. Okay, so they haven't told us that, but we've looked at their body language and we've figured those things out from what we can see in front of us. Again, with this one, this lady's obviously very excited and happy. Something great has happened in her life. She's also full of energy. And again, we haven't been told that, but we are inferring that from what we can see in front of us. And again, this lady here, obviously completely different from the one before. She's obviously quite upset about something. We could perhaps say she's distraught, very emotional, and maybe she's lonely. She's on her own within that picture, so maybe loneliness is an emotion as well. Now, obviously, we haven't been told those things. We've inferred or suggested how those people are feeling from what we can see in front of us. Now, we use a similar skill when we analyse source 3 to figure out or infer how a person is feeling from what they say or do within that extract. So here I've got an extract from Notes from a Small Island by Bill Bryson. Bill Bryson is an American and he came to Great Britain and he had a trip around Great Britain and he wrote about his experiences. Now this extract takes place after he has arrived in Dover on a very cold night and he's unable to get a place in a bed and breakfast and ends up spending the night on a park bench sleeping. And then this extract is where he enters a cafe. So what I want you to do is I want you to read through this extract and I want you to think about how Bill Bryson feels and what he's thinking. So I want you to think about what quotes you could pick out and what you can infer from what he says or does about this particular moment in time. So if you'd like to pause the video now and have a go at that, then do that now. Okay, and if you're struggling a little bit, these are the things that I've picked out. So if you want to have a look at those and think about those quotes, what do they say about how he's feeling or what he's thinking about that cafe at that time? Okay, so the ones I've picked out outstanding, lively and steamy and deliciously warm. So we could say that obviously we know he's been on a very cold park bench overnight. So he obviously finds the cafe very, very lovely, homely, comforting. It's obviously warm after a night on a cold park bench. And it's wonderful in comparison to what he's had to deal with the night before, okay? And that is what we've inferred from what he said, his description of the cafe. The fact he says that he gets his eggs, beans, fried bread, bacon, sausage, bread and butter, and his tea, all for 22 pence. This was obviously a very long time ago, I may add. The fact that he says that tells us that he is extremely surprised by how good value it is in that cafe to get all of that food and drink for just 22 pence. He calls himself a new man, so obviously he's feeling very energised and refreshed, having eaten a good plate of food and been in a nice warm environment. He saunters happily. Now if you saunter, you walk without a care in the world, so obviously he doesn't feel like he has a care in the world after he's been energised and refreshed. He's very happy. The negativity of spending that cold night on the park bench has disappeared. So now he's a completely new man. The fact that he comments that Dover was not vastly improved by daylight, but I liked it, tells us that perhaps he's being realistic in that he knows that perhaps Dover doesn't have many positive aspects about it. But obviously the experience that he's just had has given him one that, that it's a very positive, welcoming, friendly place. And maybe he feels quite at home there. So what we've done is we've picked out words that he's said and we've thought about what that suggests about how he feels at that particular point in time. And that's what you have to do with question 3 and source 3. So structuring your response, you need to, for this 8-mark question, do 4 point quote explains. If you can fit a 5th in within the 12 minutes, then that is great. But 4 is what you're aiming for. So your point is your answer in the question, okay? So what emotion, thought or feeling is that character feeling at that point in the extract? And you need to make sure that you look all the way through the extract and you pull out quotes and points and thoughts and feelings from the entire extract, not just from the beginning or the end. And we can tell the examiner that we have looked specifically at that part of the extract by using a phrase such as at the beginning of the extract, okay? So that tells the examiner that you've read all the way through it. So at the beginning of the extract, blah, 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 feels, thinks, or has this emotion at this point in time. So you literally answer the question with the thought or feeling. So here what I've done is I've just used that Bill Bryson extract and I've started it with, when Bill Bryson enters the cafe, he is positively overwhelmed by the warm and comforting surroundings. Okay, so overwhelmed is the emotion and I've briefly explained why that is the case. Okay, I could probably make that even better by saying, well, when Bill Bryson enters the cafe at the beginning of the extract, he is positively overwhelmed, okay, if I wanted to really signpost to the examiner that it was from the beginning. Then I need my quote, okay, so here I've said Bryson describes the cafe as steamy, lively and deliciously warm. So what I've done is I've been sophisticated and I've used my quotes within my sentence. So I've embedded the quotes. And then we need to use our inference and our suggestion skills. So we need to offer further insight into what the words in that quote suggest. Okay, what do they show about how the person is feeling? So here I've looked at those words, lively, steamy, outstanding. And I've said the use of positive adverbs and adjectives suggests that after a long cold night spent on a park bench, Bryson is relieved to find a comforting and homely environment to lounge in. Okay? The fact that he describes the cafe as being lively suggests that he is pleased to be amongst people after a night on his own, and that the steamy room is a welcome change to the cold Dover nights. So what I've done is I've looked at those two words, lively and steamy, and thought, what does the word lively mean? And what does that tell us about how he feels? Okay, again, the word steamy tells us, again, he likes to be in that warm environment. So you're always constantly thinking, why has the writer used those particular words? And again, you need to do that 4 to 5 times in your PQE paragraphs. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a read through this extract from Touching the Void, which is about 2 mountain climbers. And I want you to have a go at answering this question. Explain some of the thoughts and feelings Joe has when he has his accident on the mountain. Okay, it's worth 8 marks. This extract is available for free on my website aceyourexams.wordpress.com, so head over there and print this off. Remember to look all the way through the extract and choose 4 thoughts or feelings from various sections within it. And remember to look for changes in emotions or thoughts and feelings. And when you find those changes, think about why have those thoughts or feelings changed? Has the situation that that person is in changed, and therefore they are feeling a different way? So have a look at that. Go through, have a go at answering the question. Try and do it within the 12 minutes. If you don't finish it within the 12 minutes, that's fine. Just put a line under what you've done so that you know how much you can write within that time, and then continue your answer. And then in part 2 of this video, I will be providing you with a sample mark scheme just in case you need some extra help, and also a top band sample answer for this particular question with this extract. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you get updates of when new videos are added. Head over to aceyourexams.wordpress.com for all of the free downloads, and check out my channel for any other videos you may want to watch. You can also follow me on Twitter at aceyourexams if you have any questions about this video or any of the other videos on my channel. Thanks for listening.